All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. Mediation efforts continue in the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. However, the fighting, of course, has continued and diverse peace plans have been put forth. The French President Emmanuel Macron has now arrived in Jordan after a visit to Israel and the West Bank earlier. Amidst calls for a slowdown, the Israeli officials have continued to be pretty adamant on the expected ground offensive, despite the fact that even the United States of America has been urging the Israelis to not to resort to a ground offensive. The death toll because of this relentless bombing by the Israelis continues to go up. It is at least 5,700. And in what has been dubbed as the worst night of Israeli bombings so far, an estimated 700 Palestinians have been killed overnight just in the last 24 hours by Israeli airstrikes. And this is according to Gaza's health ministry. And this is the highest 24-hour death toll since Israel resorted to bombing the Gaza Strip. The Israeli ministry says that it has hit at least 400 Hamas targets and has killed dozens of Hamas fighters overnight. But look at the number of people who are getting killed as collateral damage in this war. Meanwhile, rocket warning sirens continue to ring in some parts of Israel. They sounded in central Israel towns in the last 24 hours. These visuals show you the Israeli Iron Dome, which is intercepting some of these very crude and very simple rockets that are almost home manufactured by Hamas. Now, the humanitarian crisis at this moment is really very dire. On Tuesday, about 8 trucks containing food, water and medicines were able to enter into the besieged enclave. But the number was supposed to be at least 20. No explanation has been provided as to why the rest of the trucks with humanitarian aid were not allowed to enter into the Gaza Strip. A total of 54 aid trucks have entered into Gaza over the last few days, which is a drop in the ocean. Many people have said that this is a farce of an aid that is being sent into Gaza, because what is actually needed for the people is several times the number of trucks that are entering at this moment, and these should enter on a daily basis. 2.3 million Palestinians at this moment are being deprived of food, water, electricity and fuel. And a discussion regarding this is taking place in the United Nations Security Council. All nations agreed that more humanitarian assistance should be delivered into the Gaza Strip urgently. But the nations have also proposed some rival plans for the same. The United States has called for a pause in the conflict so that aid could be delivered. A pause is generally considered less formal and shorter than a ceasefire. However, Russia wants a complete, immediate ceasefire, and this plan has been backed by all Arab nations, that there should be a complete and an immediate ceasefire. So as the United Nations debates the issue, Gaza is running out of crucial materials. Hospitals in Gaza are operating without fuel. And doctors have warned that critical equipment such as incubators for newborns could in fact stop working in a matter of the next few hours if enough petrol for the hospital generators is not made available. As per the World Health Organization, 6 hospitals in Gaza have shut down due to lack of fuel, and as per the United Nations, Gaza needs an estimated 160,000 liters of fuel per day to even power the basic necessities of life. And as per reports, Israel has now blocked the Palestinian access to the Al-Aqsa Mosque premises altogether. And this marks the first time that the Al-Aqsa Mosque has been completely shut off for the Muslims in several months. The Israeli police has imposed tighter restrictions on the entry of worshippers into the mosque. Western nations continue to carry on with their shuttle diplomacy that has achieved almost next to nothing so far. They are speaking with the Israeli side and have been pledging their complete support for the Israelis, and they're also meeting with the Arab leaders as well. In the latest, the French President Emmanuel Macron met with the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. He'll next be meeting with Jordan's King Abdullah. Macron, during his meeting with the Palestinian leader, reiterated the need for a two-state solution, and he's called for an immediate cessation of the aggression on the Gaza Strip. In Israel, the French president proposed an international coalition fighting the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria to widen its scope to include its fight against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Now, Macron gave no details on how the US-led coalition of dozens of nations, of which Israel is not a member, could be involved. However, as per his advisers, this coalition would not necessarily imply boots on the ground but include intelligence sharing. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu did not directly comment on Macron's proposal but has said that the fight is a battle between the axis of evil and the free world, as Netanyahu describes the state of Israel. Now, the American President Joe Biden spoke with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman about the situation in West Asia. Biden has affirmed that the United States fully supports the defense of US partners who are facing threats. The two leaders agreed on pursuing broader diplomatic efforts to maintain stability across the region and to prevent the conflict from expanding further. Meanwhile, Netanyahu has told his soldiers that a ground offensive is coming, and he's also said that the offensive is still on track amidst a growing sense of military delay. The Israeli chief of staff has also said that the country's forces are ready for a ground operation in the Gaza Strip. The defense minister Yoav Gallant has warned soldiers to be prepared for this. And our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibil met with Dr. Rabi Narsh, who is Lebanon's ambassador to India, to understand whether this war could morph into a two-frontal war and what exactly is going on at this moment in the region. Listen in.
So, particularly talking about the situation in southern part of your country, southern Lebanon, what is the situation like? We have seen visuals coming from those parts saying that people are very worried. If you can just describe or give us an assessment of the situation on the ground.
Of course, the situation is quite tense. Like I said, quite tense, quite worrisome. It is volatile. It's the people are afraid because they, like I said again, they have experienced Israeli aggression, and yeah, of course, they are afraid of being the targets of Israel. In 2006, Israel attacked a United Nations complex, where a kind of massacre happened. So yes, we are afraid. People in the south, not only in southern Lebanon, also in all Lebanon and the neighboring region. I mean, the whole region is worried about the escalation.
Any casualties in southern Lebanon?
Yeah, we have suffered casualties. We have one journalist, unfortunately, killed by Israeli direct attack. And we have also civilians, of course.
There is the presence of the UN peacekeeping mission as well, and there is the presence of the Indian peacekeepers as well. How safe they are and the role played by the UN peacekeepers, if you can perhaps talk about?
They are safe. I mean, I don't know if they are safe, like I said, because the United Nations, the Israeli, they don't save them. They attacked a United Nations complex in 2006. But they are, I mean, they played great role. And by the way, India participates in the UNIFIL, United Nations Interim Forces, for peacekeeping forces in Lebanon. India has big contingent, about 900 soldiers, peacekeeping soldiers. They are playing, of course, a great role of diffusing the tension and to contact indirect talks between the Lebanese army and the Israeli side, of course, yeah.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.